For over 45 years, the Everglades Education Program has introduced nearly 500,000 South Florida children to their backyard national park. The Royal Palm Day program is one of our most popular curriculum-based programs, bringing thousands of fifth graders to the Everglades every year. Our program employs the model of team teaching, where teachers and rangers work side by side to facilitate a positive learning experience. Your active involvement is vital to the success of your field trip, so thank you for all your preparation. We wish you and your students a fantastic journey in the Everglades.
Lead teachers are required to complete a one-day course before being certified to bring their classes on our program.
Okay, if you spot something on the guide and you see it, just stop us. Okay?
This video refresher course is for teachers who have already been to our workshop. If 2 years have passed since you have been on one of our programs, you are changing program locations, or you just need a refresher course, you've come to the right place.
We hope this video will help you visualize what's going to happen on the Anhinga Trail. But remember, this manual also has information not covered in the video that you should know as well.
Pay attention, as you may be quizzed on the things that happen in this video. Logistics at Royal Palm is the most complicated part of our program, so let's go over the details. Class and school sizes vary, but the typical program deals with one school bus fitting 65 people, which can accommodate 2 classes. The maximum you can take here is 59 students and 6 adults to meet our minimum required 1:10 ratio. There must be 2 lead workshop qualified teachers, or at least 1 per class of up to 30. When your bus arrives at Royal Palm, rangers will meet you at the bus parking area. One ranger will get on the bus and give a quick introduction to national parks. We then take the adults off the bus, and the other ranger talks to the adults about rules, safety, and logistics of the day. When the kids come off the bus, they should be pre-arranged into groups of 20 to 30 kids per ranger. If the classes on your bus do not evenly split into 2, you should arrange ahead of time an easy method to divide in half when they get off the bus. Classes will alternate a ranger-led introduction and a bathroom break. Then each class will split again into learning groups for the Anhinga Trail, 1 small group led by the lead teacher and 1 led by the ranger. So let's review this again with an animation. The bus arrives, you split into 2 class-size groups. While one class goes to the bathroom, the other class will stay and do an introductory activity. Next, you switch places. Now the second split. 2 classes separate in half to form 4 learning groups, led by teacher, ranger, teacher, ranger. Now each group separates and walks the trail independently. You might pass or be passed by other groups, and when you come to the loop, go whichever way has less traffic. All groups should try to arrive at the buses at the pre-arranged time. Team teaching is a vital part of our program, making you an important part of your students' experiences. With the help of the materials we supply, teaching on the Anhinga Trail is fun and easy. It nearly teaches itself. Let's take a look at the supplies we'll give you for your hour of team teaching.
Your teacher backpack comes with a small first aid kit to help with minor injuries such as cuts and scratches. We also include some small props, such as magnifying lenses, apple snail shells, tree snail shells, and a piece of limestone. We've recently added maps of the Everglades water flow and how people have changed it over time. None of these props are things that you have to use. However, these identification sheets are a great addition to any program. We also include a map of the Anhinga Trail, and on the back of the map are some references to curriculum points you can cover, including a summary of our popular water and sponge activity. For that, we include a water bottle and a sponge in your backpack.
Remember, you are not expected to know all the plants and animals out here. Let your students do the identifying, and you can be there just to guide them. You're also not going to have time for all the outline discussions. But let's review the most popular lessons, the water and sponge activity, which involves geography, the water cycle, aquifers, and making a conservation plan. You can begin by gathering water alongside the trail to show how clear it is. Students are always impressed by this.
But is it brown and black like we see? No.
You can use this water to wet your sponge, or you can use the string to drop your sponge into the water from the boardwalk. Next, discuss how limestone is porous and holds water like a sponge.
Looking at this sponge and looking at this rock, tell me what they have in common. Julio. They have holes.
So your sponge represents the limestone of South Florida.
I need 3 volunteers.
Next, assign kids to represent different water users in South Florida and have each one squeeze water out of the aquifer sponge. Developers or builders, farmers, people of Miami, and finally, the Everglades.
Bella, you're going to represent the Everglades. Why don't you give it a squeeze? You got some, right? Did you get as much as Garen or Logan here? No. Not as much.
This is a great time to discuss ways of conserving water with your students. Another popular activity is carefully touching sawgrass from the boardwalk, discussing its adaptations.
Move your finger up the sawgrass, and then very, very carefully try to move your finger down. If you do this all really quickly, you could get a paper cut. All right. Did it feel the same moving your finger up versus moving your finger down? No. If you look really closely at that, like if you were to look at it under a microscope or pull it really close to your eye, the little teeth on the sawgrass are pointed upwards. Why would a plant have teeth, have those spikes like that?
To defend itself.
To eat. To defend itself, says Grace? Yeah. You're absolutely correct. All right. Kind of like a cactus has spikes, right? Or a porcupine has spikes. Sawgrass has those little teeth to defend itself.
For further teaching ideas, please consult our teacher's guide, our website, and other training materials for discussion points on the Anhinga Trail. Remember, the walk on the Anhinga Trail goes very quickly. If your school arrives late, you may find that just identifying plants and animals around the trail takes all your time. If you get too close to another group, the kids will mix together. A full class is too crowded on the Anhinga Trail, and you will not be able to have effective discussions. Thus, it is very important that you and your ranger do not follow each other on the trail. Are you worried this might happen? Wait for an alligator to cross the trail, or turn around and go the other way if you can't. Don't try to squeeze past an alligator if it's in the middle of the trail. If there's a gator on the side of the trail, stand a safe distance from the gator and make the kids walk behind you so that they can't get any closer. Know how to recognize fire ant mounds and make sure that kids do not stand in them. Be respectful of tourists. Don't let your kids crowd the tourists. But also don't let tourists take over your program. You may have to remind tourists that this is a private program and they should not be photographing your kids. To respect the schedule of the bus company and leave ample time for lunch and an afternoon hike, it is important to return to the bus on time. Don't worry, your job gets easier after lunch. When you meet back at the bus after your walk on the Anhinga Trail, you'll follow the rangers to Long Pine Key for lunch and a hike. You'll all stay in your ranger-led class groups for lunch, and the ranger will lead the group on the trail afterwards. Preparation for lunch makes the day go faster. All your lunches should be in a box or cooler in the back of the bus. That way you can take them all out at once and pass them out to the kids. Crows may watch you while you eat, planning to steal anything you take your eyes off of, and they will try to eat any crumbs you leave behind. People food is unhealthy for crows, and it encourages bad behavior. So please clean up together and leave your lunch site spotless. Trash is not only ugly, but it can be mistaken by animals for food, with tragic consequences. After lunch, your ranger will lead you on a hike through 3 habitats. The group may discuss fire ecology in the pine rocklands, and maybe elevation changes in the hardwood hammock. They may have you touch trees, smell plants. You may also go back out into the prairie, where we listen to the sounds of nature. And finally, at the lake, we can look at periphyton.
It is algae, it is fungi, it is microscopic animals. It's a mixture of living things. I want you guys to hold out your hands, all right? And I'm going to put a piece of periphyton in your hands, and I want you guys to investigate it. This is also a mini Everglades habitat. It's a food, it's a habitat, it's a source of water, all right? Without this, the Everglades would not quite be what it is. This is the start of a lot of life here, and a lot of life depends on it.
Even though you are not teaching this portion of the day, remember that good behavior and appropriate clothing are your responsibility and can make a big difference in the safety of your group. You will be walking through areas with biting insects, scratchy and poisonous plants, uneven terrain, including roots and sharp limestone. So controlled behavior, long pants, and closed-toed shoes are required for all participants. After the long Pine Key walk, we bring you back to the buses, where you take attendance and lead the bus back home. The rangers stay behind and wave goodbye.
To make the field trip a success, we require some preparation ahead of time. Pre-site classroom education is vital to the program. Students with good pre-site education focus their energy and curiosity, making connections between what they've learned in the classroom and what they are seeing on site. Choose what interests you and fits your lesson plans. We recommend starting with the 4 habitats we will see: the freshwater slough, the sawgrass prairie, the pine rocklands, and the hardwood hammock. You could have students study different species that live in the Everglades, talk about threatened or endangered species, or native versus non-native species. Geology, limestone, the aquifer, and the Everglades water flow are also a great focus. Our video series, Everglades Mountains and Valleys, is one easy place to start with your class. We notice when your class comes well prepared, and it allows us to explore the Everglades in depth.
There are some things that are important to bring, and others to leave at home. Name tags are really helpful for us, but not all name tags are equal. Some traditional name tags don't stick well in the humidity, and they end up falling off. We found that masking or packing tape with a large name printed in permanent marker is easier to read, cheaper to make, and stays in place. Water bottles are also encouraged, especially if the day will be 80 degrees or more, so check the weather before you come. Let your students know there won't be time for purchases, including stopping by the gift shop or vending machines, so it's best if students leave money at home. While on program, they're also not allowed to have any electronics or other devices, including cell phones, cameras, or binoculars. This allows them to focus on what they are experiencing rather than focusing on their equipment. Only teachers and chaperones may take pictures if they do so without interrupting the program. If students want to take pictures or go to the gift shop, we encourage them to use their free entrance certificates to return with their families and do these things on their own time. Remember that our program fills quickly, and the program and buses are paid for in advance, so do not expect to reschedule due to weather. If thunderstorms are near, we can safely do activities and watch the park film in the visitor center. Thunderstorms are short-lived, so we usually have time to go back outside after the danger of lightning clears. We will go out in the rain, however, so bring ponchos if it's just going to be wet. Finally, we expect your kids to return to the buses tired but happy. Many kids remember this day for the rest of their lives, So we look forward to working with you, making this a special day for you and your class.